Welcome to SourceCAD. In this video, Paul Muhindi will show you all about using line types in Revit. He will cover topics like model lines, detail lines, how to create custom line types, how to manage line weights and visibility. So this video is really important for you if you want to learn all about making professional drawings with proper line types. So with that, let's get started.
So, as you're fully aware, lines are fundamental, especially when creating architectural drawings. So for our case, we'll be working with Autodesk Revit 2024, and I'll just simply create a new model. So I'll navigate to New and select the architectural template. And if you want to learn how to use Revit right from scratch, we have linked a completely free course down in the description. So kindly make sure to check it out. So once I've selected my template, I'm going to hit on OK. So in Revit, we have two main types of lines: model lines, which exist both in 3D space, and detail lines, which are specific to 2D views. So what do I mean by this? Let's start with model lines. So once you're in Revit, under the architecture tab, under the model panel, you'll find the model lines. To activate this command, you can either use LI keyboard shortcut and it's gonna be activated. So I want to show you that the model line, this model, just as the name prescribes it, is found both in 2D and 3D. And even if you read the synopsis that is usually given by Revit, you're going to see that it says that create a line that exists in 3D space and is visible in all views of a project. So I want to have a 3D view side by side. So I'll click on this 3D icon so that I can have this 3D. Then I'll navigate back to level 0. Then hit on WT on my keyboard so that I can have them side by side. Once that's done, I just want to come up with simple walls. So I'll navigate to walls and then I will use this inscribe polygon. Then after that, I'll just change my sides to 10 sides and then I just change my height to level 1. So it's going to move from level 0 to level 1. So let's just come up with something simple, something of the sort. Once that's done, I want to show you how model lines are used. So let's say for this case, we want to do some lines inside here. So I'm going to go with model line. I'll click on this once. And once that's selected, you're going to have this contextual window. So from here, we have line types. So under line types, there's a drop down menu, which I can use to select the specific line type that I want to work with. And in this case, let's go with medium lines. So all these types of lines, they're just basically styles that can be used to represent different elements within the project. So depending with what you want, if you want to work with thin lines, with wide lines, with hidden lines, and so many other even center lines, you can just select from here. So for our case, let's just go with median lines. Then you're going to select the type of way that you want to draw. So for our case, this is a line, or you can even pick lines to come up with the lines, or you can even use curves, so on and so forth. But for this case, let's just use line. So I'll select line and you'll see here we have placement panel. So you can either select you want to place it at level 0. For this case, we are working at level 0, or you can select level 1 or pick the specific plane. So for our case, just leave it at level 0, leave it as chain and offset 0. So let's just simply draw a line from this point to that point. Remember, we're still in the chain command. Then the next one, let's suggest somewhere around there. Then I'll hit an escape to escape from that command. So if I was to select on this specific line, these options are going to be shown here under properties. So we're going to see that the line is a median line, and we're going to see that even the line style is still median line. And if you want to change this line, it's very simple. Up here under the line style panel, you can just simply click on this and change it to any of the lines that I prefer. Let's say I want to go with thin lines. So once selected, if I select it again, this is a thin line, hit on escape. If I select on this is a median line. And if I was to select on both of them using the dash window, it's going to show that they're common because they're both lines, but the line style varies. So I'll hit on escape. And why are these model lines important? So let's jump into our 3D. So if I was just to orbit, we can simply see our lines are now visible within the 3D view. And why do we need these lines? So we can actually use these lines to draw our walls. So if I was to use the keyboard shortcut WA for walls, I can use pick lines to draw these specific walls. So if I just select on this wall, just like that, now we have another wall created on this side. It's very easy. If I was to select on this one, just like that, we have another wall created on this other side. So having understood model lines that can be seen in 2D and 3D, so what are detail lines and where are they found? So I'll simply hit on escape a couple of times on my keyboard, then navigate to the annotate tab. Under the annotate tab, you're going to find this option of detail. And you'll see that it's currently grayed out because the 3D window is the one that is active. But if I was to select the 2D window, you'll find that it's now active and I can use this command. And to find it or to use it, you can use the DL shortcut on your keyboard to activate it. For my case, I'll just click on it once and let's draw this line here. So I'll use line, still the same command. You can use the same line styles that are available for model lines are also available for your detail lines. So let's go with something like demolish. So I'll select demolish and I want to select, let's say, somewhat around here. I'm just eyeballing it and just using what Revit is giving me. So this is not to standard or anything. So if I'll select on this, we're going to see that the line is demolish and it's demolish under line style. But you won't find it on the 3D. So let's pan here. If you try to view it, you cannot view it. It's not here, but yet again, it's found on this other side. So that's the difference between detail line and model line. So when it comes to detail lines, this simply means these are lines that can show more detail or more refined information on 2D drawings. But don't be fooled that you can't use them to create your walls. So if I was to use walls command pick lines, then I just select on it just like that. Even walls can be created from the 2D view. So that is something important that you need to understand. All right, so right now we have our detail line and we have our model lines. So let me just select the walls and do away with them. So I'll select this, delete. All right, so right now we have just our model lines and our detail lines. So how to know the difference when you're working with detail lines or model lines? And can I be able to move them between views? So remember, the main difference is just that 3D model lines can be seen in 3D while detail lines cannot be seen in 3D. That's the main difference. But can I be able to change my detail line to be model line? Yes, you can. And to do that is very simple. Just simply select on it. And once the contextual ribbon will be popped up, under here you'll see an edit panel. Once you click on this, it's going to simply convert either to model line or to detail line, depending on the line that you have selected. So for our case, because it's a detail line, if I was to select on this, it will convert to model line. So let's click on it and see what will happen. So once selected, just like that, you'll see that it has been visible. It's currently been visible. And down here, you'll find a warning saying that Revit converted one line. So can I be able to convert my model line to detail line? Yes, you can. So once you select on it under the contextual ribbon, you'll find convert lines. So if I was to click on this once, just like that, you'll find a warning here and you will notice that you won't be able to visualize the model line or the detail line within the 3D, meaning that now it's a detail line. All right, so I think now you understand what is the difference between a model line and a detail line. So now let's look at what are line types. So currently, you remember if you're to select any line, you'll have these line styles. So let me just select on these line styles and select for this specific line to be a thin line. So once I select on that, it will just be this continuous line. Then I select on this specific model line and change it to be a wide line. So once I do that, we cannot see any difference. You might actually just think these lines are the same. But if you also to click on this option of thin lines or simply use the TL command on my keyboard, if I click on it, you see the main difference. Now this is a wide line, this is a thin line. And this is important, especially when showing structural elements. As a structural engineer, we need to show much of the time structural members using thick lines, while fine detail is usually shown by using thin lines. So that's the main thing. And you can clearly see it when it comes to walls. The outside core is shown by thick lines, while the inner information or the fine detail is shown using thin lines. So having done that, what about if you want to come up with your custom lines that you want to use for your specific project? To do that is quite easy. And how do we do that? If I was to select on this, you'll find no option here. But if you were to go to the Manage tab and then you navigate to the Settings panel, you'll find the additional settings command. If I was to click on this, we'll find this drop down menu. And from here, we have the first option being Line Styles. So once I select on this once, you'll find Line Styles tab, and under it, we have this tree button. So if I click on this, all the trees will be shown. So to create our custom line style is very easy. Just to click on New. This window will show up, so we can give it a name. Let's say for our case, we want to call it source code. Once that's done, even if you select the subcategory, it's still lines, so there's nothing else. I'll click on OK, and just like that, it will be added within this tree. Now we can change our project on line weights. So let's say we want to work with something like 5. We can change the color. Let's say we work with index color 2. This is being red, but you can always change the color if you prefer using the spectrum or using color books, depend with what you want. So I'll go with red for my case. Then you can change the line type, let's say to something like center or dash dot. Let's work with dash dot. Then I'll simply hit on apply, then hit on OK. So once I go back to my architecture tab and select model line, and I want to draw my lines, so I'll use lines, I can now select source card from the list. So once I select on source card, let's draw from this point here all the way to the opposite side about here. Just like that, we can see that our line widths have been applied and our dash dot line style has been applied. And if I was to uncheck on the thick lines or thin lines option, it will be deactivated. It's that easy. But the biggest question is, what will happen if I was to delete this specific line style? Will it delete the line? The answer is no. So let's go back to Manage. Let's go to Line Styles. And I'll just put this on the side here so that we can be able to see it. Then I'll simply navigate to this specific line style that we have created. And something very interesting, if you try to delete this custom line styles that have come with Revit, they cannot be deleted. So this is a safety option, which I really like. So you cannot delete and tamper with the entire project's team information. But for the one that you have created, you can select on it. You can even rename it to something that you prefer, or you can even delete it. So if I select on delete, it's gonna give me this warning. And if I click on yes, then hit on apply, just like that, it will be deleted and it will revert to the first option or to the default one being lines. So if I select on this, it's gonna show me that the line style is lines, and I can just select it to be any type of line that I want. If it's median, if it's let's say path of travel, something of the sort. And if I want to convert it now to be a detail line, I just click on this, just like that, it will be converted. So let's say we don't want to see these lines, or for your case, you have created your lines and you cannot visualize them. Much of the time is just usually about your view range. So to navigate to your view range, you navigate under properties, you navigate to extends, and you can edit your view range from here. So for our case, this is level 0, and we are seeing it from the level 0. But if you don't want to, or for example, you cannot see these lines, let's say we go with an offset of 20, hit on apply. Okay, let's change this also, hit on apply. You'll see that some lines are being hidden or they cannot be visualized. This is because of the view range. And if you want more information about view range, if you click on show, you will be given a complete summary on how you come up with your view range. So for our case, let's just go back to default, 0, and this one 0, then okay. And just like that, now our lines are visible. But what about if you're to hide your specific lines? To do that, it's possible. I'll select on this, right click, navigate to hide in view, then I can hide element. And just like that, it's hidden. And to bring it back is very simple. Click on this reveal hidden elements icon. And just like that, we can see that it's hidden. Then I can just hide and hide element, then click on toggle to reveal. And just like that, that's the way you do it. But not only that, you can also navigate to visibility override, which is actually found under graphics, visibility override, then click on edit, or simply hit on VG on your keyboard to bring up this specific window. And under model category, if you search on detail line or on line. So just line, you'll find all these options of line, and you can hide specific items that you do not want to be seen. So for our case, let's see what specific line was this. This was path of travel. So if I check on that, hit on apply, just like that, it will be hidden. If I check on it, then hit on apply, it will be brought back. So that's the way we work with lines. Now, let's make it a little bit more advanced. So if I go back to home and select on a project, so for this case, we have this project here, and I want to show you how to show hidden lines. So for this view, we have wireframe. So I'll change it to hidden lines, and we cannot see the objects that are behind these specific items. So to visualize them or to show them in your model is very simple. Navigate to view, and under view, we have the graphics panel. And under this, we have this option of show hidden lines or remove hidden lines. So for our case, we want to show. So I'm going to simply click on show hidden lines. Once I select on this option, I'm going to select the item that is closest to me or the one that is highest. So for this case, it's this specific roof. So I'll select on this. Then I'll select the member that is behind it. And for this case is that. And just like that, we can show this specific hidden line. And you can always play around with the line weights by clicking this, toggling on or toggling off. And that's the way we do it. And that's the way we show hidden lines. All right, back to our architecture tab. Under the model panel, back to our model line. It's important to understand that if you want to draw them in your 3D, you can. So right now I have activated the 3D view. And if I click on model line, I can still access the same options. So let's say, for example, we want to work with, let's say with a rectangle. Then I choose my style to be a path of travel. Then I'll just orbit within this view. I'm orbiting by holding down my shift key and my center wheel mouse button. So if you want to understand how to use these keyboards shortcuts, make sure to check down. I've linked a complete free ebook that you can be able to follow along. So if I try to draw here, it won't be on this specific face, but it will be on this specific plane because it's currently at level 0. So let's first put here at the level 0 area like so. And if I navigate to placement plane, I can pick the specific plane. Then I can pick a plane by this option, then click on OK, then pick on this face if I want to draw on this specific area. And let's now draw something else. Let's say this inscribed polygon, and I'm going to draw it here. So something of the sort, then hit on escape. So if I orbit within this 3D view, I'll be able to find these model lines over here and also see the same model lines here within our 2D view. So it's very important to understand that. And not only that, if I was just to jump to my elevations, so these elevation markers are basically our west, our east, our north, and our south. I can just simply jump by navigating to my project browser, clicking on this tree, then just jumping, let's say, to the north elevation. So I now have it here, and now this is the northern side. If I go to south, I can also draw my 3D model. So I can be able to specify the name and pick the specific level if it will be on 2D. Or I can place it on the plane. So I'll select the plane. Let's say in this case, I want to select on this plane. And I can change even the shape. Let's use an S line. So I'll select something like so. Once satisfied, I'll just right click, then hit on cancel. And that's our model line. So the good thing about model lines, even if I create it in this view, it will be added in all views. So if I scroll or if I orbit, I'll find my model line here. So if I try to put the detail line, so let's just jump back to annotate, it will be grayed out as I showed you earlier because we're in the 3D. But if I go to south elevation and click on the 2D, because this is 2D, it will be activated. So that's still the same difference between model line and detail line. So right now we have our detail line not being visible here and our model line being visible. And remember, if I click on it and just convert it, it will be converted to a detail line and it will be hidden from all other views. All right, so once that's done, how do we copy and paste our model lines between levels? So currently we have two levels. This is level 0 and level 1. And I want to max them out. So I'll select level 0, hold down my control key, then select level 1, then right click and navigate to maximize 3D extent. Once I select on that, they will be moved outside their specific building. So I want to copy this specific model line to level 1. And to do that is quite easy. I just open my dashed window to select all of them. Then I'll navigate to the modified panel or contextual window here. Then I'll simply hit on copy if I want to copy between floors, or I can cut it and paste it on a completely different floor. But for our case, we want to copy, so I'll click on copy. Then under this paste option, it will be now activated. I'll click on this drop down, then navigate to aligned to selected levels. And after that, I will just select the level that I want to paste. For your case, it might be different. For my case, it's just level 1. Then I'll click on OK. And just like that, now we have one model line at level 0 and another one at level 1. And remember, you can just use them to come up with so many other items, let's say walls and so other fine detail if you prefer to do so. All right, so having said that, if you want to delete them, it's quite easy. All you have to do is just open your window or open your dash window and select your lines like so, and you just hit on the delete key on your keyboard and they will be deleted from your specific drawing.
So that was all about making custom line types in Revit. If you are new to Revit architecture and want to learn it right from scratch, then sign up for the free Revit Architecture Essentials course that I mentioned before as well in this video. You can learn all about Revit architecture right from scratch in that course, and you'll also get a certificate of completion when you finish the course 100%. The link of Revit Architecture Essentials course is in the description of this video and also in the pinned comment. Finally, let me know which topic you want us to cover next, and I'll see you soon in another video.